We're in Rocky Mount. There are two counties that Rocky Mount encompasses, Edgecombe and Nash. There are railroad tracks that kind of go straight down the middle of it. This is a predominantly African-American neighborhood. A lot of unemployment here, especially on this side of the tracks. And it becomes a magnet for illegal drug sales. What we see is that individuals that have a real problem with substance use disorder, they can't be responsible enough to get up and go to work on a regular basis. And so they lose their employment, and then they fall back on family to kind of support them. And then ultimately they end up ruining those relationships because of all the lying and manipulation, stealing that occurs. It's a perpetual cycle that makes it much more difficult. I did spend a lot of time over here in the 8 years that I was working narcotics in Rocky Mount. A lot of these houses are what we call shotgun houses. Some of them don't even have working electricity in them. They're just meet up or hangout spots for drug dealers. People come and go constantly. This little park here, you know, is a big hangout spot. We've seen drug deals go down right here in the playground with kids around. Many of these houses have been hit multiple times with search warrants. I've been in houses where, you know, the grandmother lives and the grandson has moved back in with her and starts to deal drugs out of the house, and, you know, they feel helpless. They've been intimidated. They feel like they can't say anything because they don't want to get their grandchild in trouble, or if they do say anything, then they'll get harmed.
All right, just go straight up those stairs.
And it seemed to me like in those particular instances, you would arrest someone and nothing would happen.
Straight through that door.
Even if they went to jail, they would be out on bond right away. It wasn't much of a deterrent.
I'm gonna need my medicine to come down, my Seroquel, and I would take that like crazy just to sleep.
I know, baby, but I'm just saying the reason why you have to stay clean because you have your dual diagnosis.
Right.
I met Vanessa a little over a year ago. She runs a home in Rocky Mount. She's providing a venue for people that are in between trying to get their lives back together, provides them a safe place, room and board,
Angie, dinner's ready.
food, a sense of family.
Oh, it smells good.
Drugs were always in my environment. My brother passed away 15 years ago. One of the sweetest souls on the planet. At the age of 15, he was in the throes of addiction through his heroin. I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I didn't have a feeling of the inner mental state of a mature woman because of my drug use. It pushed me into an emotional roller coaster that eventually caused a disaster in my life. So I didn't have the power to numb that voice out that kept saying, don't do this one, you're gonna die. You can live without breast. You need to stay around to help someone else.
You must have been, because I remember.
At the end of my road, there were still choices for me, and that was jails, institutions, or death. I didn't mind the latter. So I made a decision to listen to the voice on the inside and not die. And I went and got some help. Shirley?
Yep.
I don't have an institution. I have a home in a community that is available for any woman who is seeking to get on the other side of her horror. I don't want a woman to feel that there is no place for her to go.
So where do most of your referrals come from?
First, my alumni will tell me they have someone, and then hospitals and institutions, treatment centers, now correctional office facilities, so prisons as well.
So Holly, we have started to see a lot more opiate use in the African American community. So what's your perception of that?
Well, I think that's because most black people don't go to the doctor and get opioids. They get them off the street.
Right.
You know, the people who go to the doctor and get them go out and sell them. They sell them to black people, and then the cycle continues.
Right. What do you suppose some of the challenges are for African Americans to seek out treatment or get into treatment?
Well, the first thing I think of would be just the shame of asking for help, and then knowing where to go to get it.
Are there financial constraints? I mean,
Sure, because a lot of places charge for help,
Right.
you know, and many African Americans don't have health insurance,
Right.
so they can't pay for a 30-day treatment center.
So, you know, we started the Hope Initiative in February of 2016.
Yes.
And we've had a number of ladies that we've supported to come through the
Absolutely.
lighthouse. Mm-hmm. But what I've seen is that it's been a very small percentage of the African American community. Mm-hmm. What are some things that the Hope Initiative can do to reach out?
There are disparities between a black woman and a white woman. A white woman would go to a doctor's more often than a black woman. Where you would have to meet, the black woman would be outreach. The health department is where they go. That entity alone, social services, is the backbone of the community. You don't have that hope until a social worker says, we have a place, don't worry about the funding, you need to get help. All you need to do is keep staying clean and follow some rules.
And I would imagine that they build some initial trust with their caseworker there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if the caseworker there is recommending, you know, to go to this particular program or
Right.
through this program, it'd be a little easier than just
Right.
me coming in there and saying, hey, this is what I got available. Trust me and come on down.
Right.
I got you.
So I knew heroin was part of your story, but I didn't know the depth of it. Like,
I was running away. You know, I was telling you I was working, I was in correction, and I was doing pretty good. I had a couple houses in New York, and but the big H came along.
heroin.
Heroin. I met a female that was actively using, and we started hanging out. The next thing you know, she said, well, here, try this, you know, and she shot me up for the first time. And to tell you the truth, Vanessa, it was, I still remember that day. Man, this is heaven.
Yeah.
You know? And it was off to the races after that. Needless to say, I lost my wife, I lost my houses, lost my job.
Yeah. How'd you get here?
I got a friend of mine I used to go to school with. He ended up working for the DEA. And he called me and said my name was on the to look at list.
For a job.
Yeah.
Oh, you're dealing.
Right.
Oh, you're moving to?
Right. I was dealing, and I was working with corrections, and I knew I had to do something different.
Yeah.
And once he called me and told me, I kind of vested my rights on the job and got a first thing smoking down here. Got to Raleigh, and no matter where you go, you're gonna find the people you want to find.
You're gonna find what you want.
Yeah. And I was looking at it, I said, man, these guys don't know drugs. I know drugs. So I kind of started
They
doing,
showed me
I started running back and forth to New York, picking up, and dealing in Raleigh, and I said, these guys, man, I'm gonna take over this spot. But the young guys weren't having it, you know. And I went to the store one day, and they snuck up on me a little bit. And they said, you know, you just came back to New York, give us the stuff. And but I didn't, I wasn't, you know, they told me at the wrong time. And then I was like, I refused to give it up. And I had a can of dog food in a plastic bag, and I went to swing it, and the guy behind me shot me with the 380 right in my butt. I still got the bullet in it, so I gotta keep, that reminds me, you know? And the guy in front of me with the 22 went through my arm. But I thought he hit me in the head, well, knocked me down, and I was laying in the blood, and I said, I gotta get out of here. Now it's like no compunction, whatever, would shoot you, you know what I mean? Nothing, absolutely nothing. So what happens is it's a whole different ball game. Now it's like you scared to come out of your house because you don't know what's going on with the gangs. You know, just doing home improvement in the neighborhood, and next thing you know, you hear pop, 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 pop. Now it's like you don't know what's gonna happen. You got a gang.
High school kids.
Yeah, they're just doing all kinds of craziness. I mean, you see it now. I mean, this one got killed was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
This
seems like every week.
Bow, 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 bow. You know, and you never know what's gonna happen when you come out the door. It's not the same. I mean, it's worse. You know.